Good morning, students. Welcome to another science lesson. And today we are going to learn about energy flow in a food chain. Now, before we proceed, we learned about producer and consumer in our previous lesson, right? What is a producer? Yes, a producer is a living thing which produces food or makes its own food. And what about consumer? Yes, who consumes or eats the other living things. So I'm going to show you some pictures and you will tell me if it is a producer or a consumer. Grass. Yes, it is a producer. What about turtle? It is a consumer. Lion? Yes, consumer. What about cactus? It's a producer. What about seaweed? It's producer. And palm tree? Also producer. What about crab? It's a consumer. Very good. So you know very well, right? So by the end of today's lesson, we are going to see how energy flows through a food chain and how energy is lost from a food chain at every stage. So you already know what's a food chain, right? It's a chain which shows how energy is transformed from the producer through the different consumers. Like you can see the first one where you have three elements here: a corn, rat, owl. Because the corn is eaten by the rat, a rat is eaten by the owl. Now you have next one, four elements here, right? Because the carrot, it's eaten by a rabbit, rabbit is eaten by a fox, and fox is eaten by a lion. And the next one you have five things here. There is grass eaten by an insect, the insect is eaten by a frog, and the frog is eaten by a snake, and the snake is eaten by an eagle or a hawk. Now all these food chains you can see that always what's in the beginning? Yes, it's a plant, because plant is the producer. It produces food and the other consumers eat them. Can you make a food chain with the given picture? I have given you three pictures. Which one will come first? Yes, the rabbit, okay, fox, and eagle. Now, can you make a food chain with all these four pictures? What will come first? Yes, of course, the grass, because a plant, right? And then what comes? Yes, the mouse or the rat, and the snake and the hawk. So this is how the food chain goes, right? Now, I'm going to show you one lie and two truths. You have to try and guess which one is a lie. First one, all of the energy that flows through through the food chain comes originally from the sun. All the arrows in the food chain shows what eats what, and the arrow shows the flow of energy through the system. So which one is a lie over here? Which one is wrong? Yes, second one, arrows in the food chain shows what eats what. This is wrong. Why? Because the arrow points to from the grass, it points to the insect. So that doesn't mean that the grass eats insect. Does the grass eat insect? No, it's the other way around, right? So here it shows the flow of energy, okay? So here the energy is going from the grass to the insect, the grasshopper or locust, and then it's going to the bird, and the energy is going to the owl. So all of this energy, it came from originally the sun, right? Because the plant made the food using the energy from the sunlight. So the energy came from the sun. Now it's activity time. Let's make a food chain like the one shown in the picture. It starts with the sun, then you have a plant, and then you can make your own food chain. Now let's see how the energy is lost. What is the energy loss in a food chain? Actually, what happens is that only 10% of the energy is passed from one level to another. Even from the sun, only 10% is used by the plant to make food. The remaining 90% is not used. And from the 10%, the plant uses for respiration, for growth, and only 10% from this 10% goes to the rabbit. And again, the rabbit uses for growth, for movement, warmth, respiration, and excretion. Some of the energy is lost. and only 10% from what the rabbit got goes to the next one. So you can see that as the energy moves, it becomes less and less and less. Energy is lost actually. You can see here two diagrams I've shown how the energy goes less and less. You can see in the beginning of sunlight there was too much energy, and then the plant takes, and from that it becomes less. The primary consumer or the first consumer, it has only 100,000. From that 10% it's 100, and from that 10% it's 1, and the next person will be like 0 point, so it's 10% each time. So less than 1 is if something which eats the snake gets less than 1%. Here, this is a food chain in a pond. You can see here, if for example, if we have 100 liters, if we just imagine that the energy is 100 liter, what happens when the plant, it's using only 10 liter, and from the plant the fly is using only 1 liter, and the frog is using 10% of the 1 liter, which is 100 ml, and from 100 ml 10 ml, and then 1 ml. So see how it goes. So what did you get today? The further you go along the food chain, the less energy there is for the next level. So the more you go, the lesser the energy. It's time for discussion now. Activity 2 in page 30. What do you think will happen to the plant and animal life on Earth if a black cloud from a volcanic explosion blocked the sun's light? What happened? Yes, there will not be any more plants and animals on the world, right? Because if the sun's light is blocked, if the sun's light does not reach the earth, what will happen? The plants cannot make food. And when there is no plants, what will happen? There won't be any animals, because some animals eat these plants, right? And other animals eat these animals. So like for example, if lion needs to eat the deer should be there, but deer will die already because the deer eats the grass. So there won't be any living thing on the earth. Why in time? Now let's move to the next one. Why in time of food shortages it is better for people to eat maize than to feed the maize to chicken and eat chicken? Why it's better to eat the maize than eating the chicken? Yes, we saw that the energy is lost as you move, right? So there is more energy in the maize than in the chicken, because when the energy moves from the maize to chicken, it has become less, and then when we eat the chicken we are getting even lesser energy. So it's better to eat maize because you'll get more energy from it. Now number 3, vegetarians say that it is more efficient to eat plants than to eat animals, so we can make sure more people have enough food. Are they correct? Do you think they are correct? If you say some way, if you just look at second question, we can say that eating plants is efficient because we get more energy. But what do you think? You will think people have enough food? No. If all the people start eating plants and the animals also eat plants, what will happen? The plants will finish, and then again, like we said, there won't be any more living things in the world, right? Okay, now let's move on to what you have learned today. Every food chain starts with a plant. Plants are, yes, we learned, they are producers. They capture energy from the sunlight to make food. The energy passes along the, yes, food chain to animals that eat plants and other animals. Animals are, yes, consumers. At each stage in a food chain, most of the energy is wasted as heat. It's wasted in many ways, but it's mainly wasted as heat because it's used for so many things. A food chain is not a very efficient way. It's not efficient. Why? Because it's losing a lot of energy. Now let's move to the check your progress. Open your notebook, write the date, write the lesson number, the name and the page number. Now first question, have asked you to draw a food chain for feeding a baby with milk. You can draw the food chain. So how will you start? You'll have to from the sun, there is grass, and from the grass, what eats the grass? There will be cow, and from the cow, the milk will come, and the milk will go to the baby. So you can draw this food chain how the energy moves. Number two, in a science fiction story, the whole earth has become one huge city with no forest. So we are thinking of a story where the earth has become one huge city. There is no forest, only a big city. There is no forest, no farms, or no grasslands. Use your knowledge of the food chain to explain why this would be impossible. Yes. Why was it be impossible? Yes, because we told that if there is no plants, there won't be anyone on the earth. Then how can there be a city, right? Don't forget to write your heading, check your progress, and then you can draw the food chain and you can write number two, because no plants means no food and no oxygen after some time. So no food, no oxygen, there will be nothing living on this world. The earth will be an empty place, right? Okay, now let's move to our workbook, page 12. Number one, the arrows in this energy diagram show how energy flows in a food chain. Now you have to answer the question. Which of the living things is a producer? Which is the producer here? Yes, the plant, which is corn. What is the primary consumer, which is the first consumer? It is the mouse. And the secondary consumer, you have snake and eagle after that, right? Okay. Now let's move to the second question. Almost every food chain starts with a plant. Why is this? Why is every food chain starting with a plant? Because they are making the food using the energy from the sun. And they are making the food, right? So it starts with them. Now, explain briefly why the energy arrows get smaller at each stage. What's happening? You can see in the picture, from the sunlight there was a very thick arrow. Then it became thinner, thinner, thinner. Why? Yes, because energy is lost, right? And how is the energy lost? As heat. So you can say because heat is lost at each stage. Or you can also say because energy is lost at each stage. Now, number 4, what happens to energy that is not stored in your body? What is happening to the energy? Yes, it is lost as heat. It's lost as heat. That's why the next, like for example, when the rat eats the corn, it gets less energy because most of the energy is lost as heat. Only 10% is stored in the body. Thank you. So with that, we come to the end of the lesson. I hope you understood. You already know what's a food chain, and we have seen the energy flow, and you just learned that energy is lost in the food chain. So thank you for paying attention. See you in the next class. Have a nice day. Bye.